Deep Rock Galactic Scout Guide and Build. Hello everyone, today I'm bringing you Deep Rock Galactic Scout Guide and Build. Stick until the end of the video to see two of my builds for Scout. Let's go. Role in the team. So you know how you have a bunch of characters to play in a game, and there is one character that is very difficult to play for you and most people, but there are those few players who are just gods using those characters, right? Well, at least in my opinion, Scout is like that. This dwarf is a must-have on the highest difficulty. Average Scout will, get all the resources and deal an okay damage, but the best Scout will move forward, kill all the leeches, spitballers, loot bugs, and other nasty things, and then when all the other three dwarfs will go down, he will go revive everyone, finish the entire swarm by himself, and just, carry everyone. His mobility helps him move around the map, helping where the team is struggling. He is the equivalent of Flash from DC. Easy to play but hard to master his positioning at all times. Now let's go over his equipment to understand what makes him so unique and hard to play in a way. The first primary weapon that you have for Scout is bulky fully automatic assault rifle. This gun has extra damage and stun chance for hitting weak spots, fire in small bursts, and you will have great damage in close to medium range and fire in single shots for longer range. Very easy to use and very good and versatile weapon. If I had to say one weakness, it would be the magazine of 25, but considering its damage and slow-ish fire rate, it doesn't seem like a huge problem. The second primary weapon for Scout is M1000. It is a semi-automatic rifle that you can charge by holding the left mouse button. Focus shots have perfect accuracy and deal double damage but consume 2 rounds out of the magazine at once. If you want to cancel a focus shot, either swing a pickaxe or reload. Let me say that this is one of the most fun weapons in the entire game, at least for myself. It is a glass cannon weapon, it deals a lot of damage. You can one-shot a lot of the bugs if you hit the weak spot even without charging. It can kill spitballers in 3 charged shots, which, it's awesome. However, this weapon is pretty bad against swarms and close range, just because of the low fire rate. This is one of my favorite weapons in the game on how fun it is, but if you're doing hard missions or deep dives, I suggest to use Scout's assault rifle. Now let's talk about secondaries. The default secondary weapon for Scout is his double barrel shotgun that is called Boomstick. This is a beast for high damage, 8 pellets, 12 damage each, so 96 damage per shot or 192 damage in 1 second with 2 shots. Shoot this at a weak spot and you can consider yourself the main DPS in the entire team. Furthermore, it has a decent stun chance for crowd control. The downside is obviously 2 shells and a very low damage if you're not at point blank. This is a high-risk, high-reward weapon. With a good team that can get bigger bugs' attention for you, this weapon can melt. A better secondary weapon, though, for Scout in my opinion, is Zhukov submachine guns. These bad boys are a death sentence to all the bugs. Their fire speed is close to Gunner's minigun, and they absolutely destroy anyone if you fire constantly at a weak spots. You will have to mod them right before they start melting, but this is a great alternative to double barrel shotgun. We'll talk about how to mod them in the end of the video, so stick around. Now let's talk about Scout's throwables. They're awesome and extremely helpful. Field Generator. This is a default grenade that explodes and creates a field that slows every enemy by 75% for 20 seconds, and it will make the enemies take 30% more damage. In my opinion, this is one of the best, if not the best throwable in the entire game. Use them to revive teammates, use them for choke points, use them for defense. A tiny disadvantage of this grenade is that it is hard to use against flying enemies, but overall an amazing tool. Cryo Grenades. This grenade will freeze enemies on impact or will detonate after a few seconds they were thrown. Freezed targets take triple damage, and the best part is flying units die instantly, so this is a must-have when you're fighting Mactera Plague. Bigger targets will unfreeze faster, so focus them right after they freeze. And don't use these grenades on Glacial Strata biome because the enemies are very resistant to freeze effects over there. Also, this can freeze teammates, so be aware of that. Last, and unfortunately the least in my opinion, is a Pheromone Canister. Basically makes enemies go in rage and fight each other for a few seconds. One of the worst, if not the worst grenade in the entire game in my opinion. It can help revive teammates, but so can the first two throwables. My friend and I tried to throw it on glyphs so the entire swarm attacked them, but they barely did any damage and it only lasted for a couple of seconds. Would not recommend this one. If you do know a better use for these canisters, please let me know in the comment section down below. So, what makes a scout the most difficult dwarf to master? Well, his grappling hook. Don't get me wrong, it's not rocket science, but it's hard to pull off Spider-Man tricks. This is the most powerful mobility tool in the entire game. Kind of easy to use, you shoot, you get pulled where you fire. You can also release the hook earlier to stop your flight. The most challenging part of being scout is to have great positioning towards your team. You must know where everyone is at all times since it's your job to revive them. You don't want to fly all the time and not help your team deal damage or wait for a recharge when someone needs your help. The biggest thing to remember is that you can die because of the fall damage while using it. You don't want to be that scout that flies around the map and does nothing but dies all the time and wastes time. You can shoot at the ground while falling to avoid damage, so be aware of that. Now I know everyone is aware, but just in case someone doesn't know already, Scout's best friend is Angie. Angie puts a platform under hard to get resources and Scout flies there with a grappling hook. Another tip for Scout is you can actually get on top of Nitra and start mining it without any platforms. Now let's talk about utility. In terms of supporting your team, Scout has something that I absolutely love, his flare gun. I absolutely hate Cave Complexity 3 because I cannot see anything and I love Scout for lighting everything. In a nutshell, you shoot a flare that gets stuck in a wall or a ceiling for 75 seconds by default and they are bright as hell, which is awesome. If you're playing Scout, use it all the time when you enter a new area with high ceilings with your team. Strength and weaknesses. Now the first and the biggest Scout strength is obviously his mobility because, well, grappling hook. Again, extremely useful to fly around and help everyone everywhere. Revive, grab resources, search an area, help deliver large pieces of resources faster, etc. The second strength is his utility. Slowing down enemies with grenades, lighting the area, separating swarms in packs, so your team kills them in small chunks is what makes Scout a must-have in every team comp in my opinion. All of these quality of life improvements, they seem very small but make a huge difference, especially on higher difficulties. Now, in terms of the weakness, I hope all veterans will agree with me over here that the biggest weakness for Scout is his lack in DPS compared to other dwarves. Don't get me wrong, he can deal a lot of damage with his M1000 and his assault rifle is great, but during the entire round, especially on higher difficulties, he lacks in DPS. This is mainly because he has no AoE weapons. All his grenades are crowd control rather than direct damage, and the same goes for his weapons. Lots of single target damage, but no way to effectively deal with swarms. Now let's talk about best and worst missions for Scout. You already know my opinion, take one of each dwarf onto every mission and you're golden. However, each dwarf shines in its own way. Let's talk about each mission individually. Mining Expedition most likely is the best mission for Scout and Angie. You must mine a lot of Morkite, especially in higher length mission. Scout is a must-have here. Egg Hunt, somewhat similar but have lower chance on spawning eggs on ceilings or high walls. Salvage Operation, Scout is not a must-have here unless you're playing on highest difficulty where you know your team will go down. Point Extraction, Scout is very good here since you must move quickly and carry a lot of resources, and with proper build, Scout can run with Gem. Elimination, a must-have just because of the grenades this slow and increase damage on a target. No question about it. Best team composition, obviously Engine. Platforms, grappling hook, must-have everywhere. Now what about other dwarves? To be honest, no correct answer. I would choose Gunner over Driller just because he has more DPS for more difficult missions, and choose Driller when you're on an easier missions when you want to finish them quickly by digging a tunnel to a dropship. Now let's talk about builds. Two builds that I use. One is very good for any kind of missions and will give you the best results, and the second one is just for fun. Primary, you will take an assault rifle. This is a must-have for effective build. This weapon is extremely versatile. It's a jack of all trades. It deals a lot of damage and can be used in long, medium, and close range. We will build it for armor penetration and no extra ammo. Try to shoot weak spots because this one is a glass cannon. Supercharged feed mechanism for fire rate, increased caliber rounds for damage. Improved propellant for damage, hardened rounds to have armor penetration, stun for stun chance, and clean overclock homebrew powder for damage increase even though not consistent. Secondary, you will take Zhukov submachine guns. This is your weapon to melt bigger enemies on weak spots and for close range in case you get in trouble. Extended ammo bags, we need more ammo since the entire clip empties in a bit more than a second on default. High capacity magazine, again more ammo, increased caliber rounds for damage, hollow point bullets, damage for weak spots, conductive bullets, more damage when enemies are slowed after a field generation grenade, and balanced overclock customs for better clip size so you won't need to reload as often. For grappling hook, the best mobility tool, I like to have very big range and protect myself against fall damage. So, longer cable for range, greater cable stretch for range, overcharged winch for speed, safety first so I won't die right after I release the grappling hook. Flare gun, I make it for ammo and duration mainly, so thicker core for duration, high capacity magazine to increase clip size, and extended ammo bags for maximum ammo. Now throwables, I take field generation. This is just too good to pass for the entire team. Don't get me wrong, cryo grenades are awesome, but they're inconsistent on different biomes and different enemies. When field generator lasts a while and is extremely good in different situations, plus it pairs with Joker for insane damage. You can honestly take this build anywhere, and after getting used to all the tools, it will do wonders for you. Now let's talk about my second build. Very fun build. I only change a couple of things. Your primary weapon is going to be M1000. I love this gun, it is too much fun not to use. So I build it as increased caliber rounds for more damage, fast charging coils, faster focus speed, killer focus, more damage on focus shots, super rounds, this help deal with swarms by penetrating 3 enemies in a line, killing machine helps with reload speed. And last, super cooling chamber for extreme damage during your focus shot. The only other thing that I change in this build, I take get in get out for my Zhukov to move faster right after I empty my clip, and I take cryo grenades because they're fun to use. You free someone, then you do a charge shot and well, they're done. In terms of perks for both builds, I always take Field Medic because Scout is the one who's supposed to revive most of the time and I want to do it quickly and get out. Beastmaster is an awesome perk for Scout as well because Steves draw attention of enemies while you can focus on their weak spots. And lastly, Deep Pockets is a must-have for me since Scout does collect a lot of resources. This is my Scout guide. Again, know that I'm nowhere near to being an expert in this game, and these are just my opinions. There are way more players who are better than me and most likely have better builds. Now, was there something I missed about Scout? Would you choose different perks? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for watching, and check out other guides on Deep Rock Galactic on my channel. Consider subscribing and hitting a bell to never miss a video. Bye bye!